Batman walking down the street in the daytime, and no kid is pointing at him and saying, "Mommy, that's man's in his underwear."
Batman, we mentioned earlier, you know, how closely identified you are with him. When you came on board with him and you and Denny O'Neil worked to bring the character out of the camp era and all that, was there editorial pushback? I'm always, because I've heard a lot of discussions and read a lot of interviews where you've talked about it, but I wondered, was that an edict from Julia Schwartz and the Bat team, or were they kind of nervous about what you were planning to do?
You have to remember that, well, they're always nervous at what I'm going to do. They always think the castle's going to fall down. There was the TV show. We all love the TV show. We love the reruns. How can you not love it? I mean, it's wonderful and remains wonderful. The star has recently died, and we love him so much that everybody's heart broke, because we're so used to him being in our lives, and we're so used to the TV show being in our lives. But that TV show was a satire. It was never meant to be real. It was meant to be a comedy, and it was a comedy, and it was a terrific satire. Pow, you know, all that stuff. But when the show is over, then the question is, what do you do with the comic books? I mean, Batman walking down the street in the daytime, and no kid is pointing at him and saying, "Mommy, that's man's in his underwear." I mean, that's what would happen. Batman walking through a door into a meeting room, it just seems so, rather than coming through the window or coming out of a closet or whatever. I know there's a reference there that you were going to laugh at, and you can't do it. You leave it alone.
I'm going to leave it alone.
So the question was, what do you do? Well, I, of course, because I come from advertising and illustration, I could easily see what the solution was. The solution was make him realistic and do Batman the way he was originally created. I didn't do anything to Batman. I drew him better, but I basically went back to the Jerry Robinson, Bob Kane Batman and brought him forward in time and just left out that middle area of satire that was no longer there. We had humor, but not satire. We didn't make fun of him. We made him a realistic character. So by doing that, I mean, they were actually, Batman appears in 2 books, Batman and Detective Comics. They were on the verge of canceling Detective Comics, and the sales on Batman weren't good. So it was a big problem at DC Comics. I was doing Batman over in a comic book called Brave and Bold, and all the fan letters were saying, well, that's the only Batman at DC Comics is the one in Brave and Bold. So the editor of Batman said, come on, you're going to start doing Batman. So Denny O'Neil and I started to do Batman. And Denny O'Neil, it's funny how things come together. Denny O'Neil was a reporter, and he used to work the night beat on his newspaper. And that kind of realistic, gritty kind of story is exactly what Denny was able to contribute to the Batman stories. We didn't even do the clowns. We didn't do the Joker and Mad Hatter and those characters. We did Orson Welles type characters and people who could seem to be living too long lives because they were taking drugs and doing something illegal. So we turned Batman into a modern hero who fought crime at night, not in the daytime, not walking down the street.
I'm knocking on doors. Can I come in?
Can I come in? Hello.